In January of 2022, I made the big leap and moved from London, England to Saskatchewan in Canada. In this video, I'm going to tell you the 5 phases that I went through when I first moved to Canada. So, if you have recently moved to Canada, watch these things because it's likely you may go through these similar stages. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Phase number 1 is vacation and excitement mode. When I first moved to Canada, I was excited, scared, happy, upset, all at the same time. So it's definitely a roller coaster of emotion. Firstly, I was happy seeing my partner again, as we've been apart for almost a year at that point. On the other hand, I was also quite sad because, well, I left my family, I left my friends, I left a job I love, and I was starting somewhere completely new. With that said, this time is also the most exciting time, and it's a really nice time to try and explore those surroundings, see what Canada is about, see what places you enjoy, see what places you might not enjoy, and all of those exciting things. In this phase, if you can, I would say get out and about as much as you can, especially if you're arriving in those summer months. If you're like me and you arrive in the winter, then again, I would try and say see what's around in the place you're living in. If, for example, you're like me, you're in Saskatchewan, I spent a lot of time in Saskatchewan just trying to figure out the city and actually just falling in love with the place I am now moving to and I'm going to be living in. So that leads me to phase number 2, which is, wait, what? I'm living here? So when I first moved here, I was in that vacation mode, I was excited. However, it didn't fully sink in that I was living here yet. And this is something that really felt effect when I started working, because then suddenly that reality hits in. You've got to go to work every day, very similar to what you'd be doing in your home country. And again, that makes you realize it's no longer a vacation, you are actually living here. Now, for me personally, I found the first couple of months a little bit like a honeymoon period. However, after about 2 to 3 months of shoveling snow every day, being really anxious on the roads because of the ice and the snow, I really did question, why am I living here? This made me really question the decision I made, and I was constantly questioning whether I made the right move coming to Canada. Now, in my case, I strongly feel like I did make that right move. However, it's important to know that these feelings are totally normal. So if you are feeling like that, please be kind to yourself. It's okay to feel upset. It's okay to feel anxious in a new place as well. And honestly, when you question these things, these are totally normal feelings. I think we're all gonna go through those phases because there are gonna be times when you're missing home. There are gonna be times when you're thinking, did I make the right move? And again, these feelings are normal, but also okay. I will just mention here, I was really lucky because when I actually moved to Canada, I already had a job lined up, which really helped make me transition from life in the UK to Canada much more easily. With that said, if you're not in this position, this is where it can become really frustrating and it can be quite tough those first couple of months, especially if you don't have a job. This is because often you may have more worries such as financially, you may have savings backed, which is great. However, they only go so far. And I know for me, if I didn't have a job, I think I would have felt much more worse during this period. With that said, this stage will pass. And the most important thing I would say here is be kind to yourself because it's okay. You're new to a new country and it is going to be tough, and it's really important to remember why you came to Canada in the first place, and also just be kind to yourself. This leads me on to phase 3, which is comparing everything to your home country. Now, this is a mistake I kept making, and to be honest, sometimes I still do this. But I just kept comparing everything to my life in the UK. And while you may think that makes you feel better in that moment, that isn't necessarily going to make you feel better in the long run. In my case, I was often asking questions like, how would my life be if I was still in London? What would I be doing different now? Would my life be the same as what it was when I was in London, or would it be very different? Other things I would ask, like why aren't there good coffee shops here being in a small city in Saskatchewan? Also other things like why are groceries so expensive? Why is phone bills so expensive? And I found that really didn't help me, because what I was doing is I was constantly comparing things and ended up getting into this negative mindset, which I found doesn't help anyone, and certainly in my case, it didn't help me as well. These things are totally normal, however you want to try and eventually get out of that and really start to adjust to your new life in Canada. So that leads me on to number 4, which is the reality settling in. After being here for a few months, you may start to realize that things are very different to what you was initially expecting, and it may be a lot harder than what you initially thought. In my case, I found out that I had to go back to school to complete some classes to get my teaching certification, and that was something for me that I just wasn't expecting at all, and it really made me question why I had to do it at the time. Now I'm doing it, I'm thinking, well actually it's worthwhile, I'm learning a lot of new things. However, at the time, I was like, why am I doing this? I wouldn't be having this problem if I was still living in England. And I think it also just makes you feel deflated, because if you think you've worked so hard in your home country, you've got a really good education, you've also been working in the field for a few years, and then you come to Canada and then you realize that actually what you did in your home country is not recognized here, well, it just makes you feel really upset and also quite deflated as well. My biggest worry was paying the tuition fees, and also the worry that I would have to potentially switch careers, and I was really lucky that that wasn't the case. However, these are things which are perfectly normalized feelings, and it's okay to have those frustrations as well. Now, I'm really lucky because I only had to do a few classes. However, this is something you should really prepare for if you are moving to Canada, because in some cases, if you want to stay in that same profession, you could have unexpected costs of having to go back to post-secondary education, which is something where, in my case, I certainly didn't budget for, and something that I certainly wasn't expecting when I made that move. So I'm now going to move on to phase number 5, which is hopefully one of the best parts, which is overcoming these initial barriers that you face when you move to Canada. After I got over the idea of having to go back to school, then I found I actually just felt a lot better, because while I was a little bit annoyed that I had to go back and do some classes, it then meant that I now know exactly what I need to do to make sure I can keep doing the job that I love. And in my case, that really helped, because suddenly those worries kind of went away because I knew what I needed to do. Now, I was really lucky because my work has been so supportive, and I'm really lucky to have such a great place to work for. And I hope that if you move to Canada, you're in a very similar situation there. But I found the people around me and the people I was working with were just so wonderful, so supportive, and for me that really helped me calm my nerves a bit. And also just listening to other people. Something I also did was speak to people who also came from another country and who also had a similar experience to what I did. And suddenly that made me feel that little bit better, because then you're not feeling alone, and you know there's people to talk to who've also come out that other end as well. And for me, that really, really helped. So if I had to choose one important tip when you're moving to a new country like Canada, the first thing I would really say is be kind to yourself. You're gonna go through ups and downs, and it's gonna be a roller coaster of emotions when you first move here. These feelings are normal, and it's so important that you look after yourself, you look after the people around you, but also make sure that you're getting that support as well. It's not easy, it's a tough process, and anyone who moves to a new country, well, I have to say, you are pretty incredible. So there we have it. That was my take on what newcomers should expect when they move to Canada. Now, I will just very quickly mention it's going to be very different depending on where you are living. So again, I'm living in Saskatchewan, so my experiences may be different to somebody living in somewhere like Ontario or British Columbia, Alberta, etc, etc. Anyway, one thing I would like to hear from you is if you have recently moved to Canada, what tips have really helped you when you have moved here? If you've got any great tips that I may have missed, feel free to leave it in the comments down below because, well, I'd love to hear from you and it'd be great for everybody to hear your wonderful tips. Thanks so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button if you want. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Jack and I'm looking forward to seeing you all soon. Bye for now.